What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Wave Dash. It is number 7. Fuck you.
Alright, so the first topic is the death of Project M. The people who modded Project M are moving on to their own company called Wave Dash Games. Ironic. And yeah, so they had a big explanation explaining why. They talked about it. They didn't get a cease and desist from Nintendo or anything like that. If they really wanted to take this new thing seriously, then they needed to cut ties with that because it could be considered prior work. And just in general, they just wanted no parts to do with it. They just didn't want no legal obligations, and they wanted to be able to start on this new project that they're really excited about.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that I think they completely cutting ties with that is great for them because as a business, that means they're ready to make the next step forward. And they're going from, in my opinion, a pastime to now we want to make this our full-time job.
Sure.
So they enjoyed it enough to actually, cut your baby. The fact that they pretty much, left their baby on a doorstep and said, we don't need you anymore. You're good to go. Be out in the world. Be free. And I think that's great for them, in my opinion.
I understand the abruptness, but they did have 4.0 coming out, which is going to be, I guess, the last hoorah, and they had a couple characters like Knuckles and whatnot. And I don't know if that is or isn't coming out, but I would have hoped that they would have came out with that before they ended up cutting ties. But I understand it, and best of luck to them.
In eSports drama, there was an incident at DreamHack this year with Richard Lewis and Loda of Dota 2 fame. There have been some exchanges on Twitter and some beef. So what ended up happening was Richard Lewis said, hey, come find me on stage. I'm here. And Loda was like, okay, bet. I'll come up stage. I'll come up there. And Loda was like, you know what, bet. I'll come up. We can talk about it, hash it out, all that fun stuff. Things got a little bit too heated. And Richard Lewis actually physically assaulted Loda. And what really struck me was the fact that DreamHack right away took immediate action. And they said, Richard Lewis, you're now banned for life from DreamHack. So I think a lot more companies need to be making these stands where you just completely no holds barred, 100% no tolerance on violence.
But you were telling me beforehand that they had already come out with an ethics this year, right?
Yes. So what ended up happening was they ended up coming out with a brand new moral code this year. And one of the things was in there, if you do physical violence, you will be banned for life. So it ended up just being the one time they actually have an incident was right after they do their whole code of ethics. So it's interesting to see how that's evolving to make esports more realistic and better sport in general.
I'm almost glad this happened. I'm completely against violence. I wanted to see how, if it got tested, they would react, and I thought they reacted brilliantly. Okay, for the next topic, we're going to talk about should esports games be season-based, like how football's in the winter and baseball's always and stuff like that. But should they have their Super Bowls at different time?
Yeah, I think they really need to start spacing out and start talking with each other and make sure they really do, for example, make sure Worlds with League of Legends and the World Championship with Dota probably shouldn't be 1 or 2 months apart. They really should space it out and probably be about 6 months apart. So maybe League in the summer and Dota in the winter type of thing.
Definitely if the games are in the same vein like League and MOBA, I definitely do think they should be on different sides. I don't know necessarily about seasons per se. It's not since it doesn't have the physical demand that traditional sports have, I think that you could entertain the masses whenever they want, and I definitely think I would be bummed if there was only a 6-month stint of my game and then I had to wait 6 months without it. So I think the demand for it will always be there. I think the caveat to that is there should be an apex or a climax of the season. So for sure, I do think that they should have their apexes in different things. So, have your World Finals for League here and your World Finals for CS in a different season and whatever. You definitely should have it year round, I think, though.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so, too. Especially with how the games work nowadays, where they're constantly getting updates and patches.
Yeah.
It'd be weird to be
sure,
be off 6 months, be behind 3 patches.
Yeah. Just
3 patches of no one ever even playing in a tournament. And then just come back and then automatically, there's a whole new meta.
Sure, and the pros, there will be the concern of rest, and there will be a quote-unquote off-season, obviously after your World Finals. there'll be a lot of moves and people will switch teams and whatnot. But there will be a little lull. There'll be a downtime to where I really think they could rest. And honestly, the pros typically play the game just because they love it. And so after, maybe a few weeks, a few months, they'll be itching to get back into it anyways.
So one thing that we always do here on Wave Dash and kind of Wave Esports in general is we always compare esports to traditional sports. And one of the biggest things, in my opinion, that separates esports and traditional sports is the fact that anyone can start their own esports team, but not anyone can start their own NBA team, their own NFL team. They have a set amount of teams with owners that are in their league. You can't break that unless they all vote to expand, which is what the NFL did.
I want to say like 98-ish, or it was the 90s.
Yeah, so with the Texans and the Jaguars.
Sure.
What makes esports so interesting to me is that fact that anyone can kind of start their own team. You can be your own team of friends and be like, hey guys, we can make it to LCS. We can be like, us 5 can be on a team together and make it all the way to the top if we really want to.
The thing that scares me about franchises is the same reason that I kind of like fighting games. So we come from a grassroots of fighting games. I feel I've always liked the case that if I get a first round or, in my pool I have a pro, the best in the world, I've always liked that, hey, I can play him and test my might. So I do like franchises. I'm not necessarily against it. I think it should just be done very tactfully.
There's not really a farm system in place yet. So it's really hard to even pull talent. So I don't even think there's enough talent in the entire pool to begin with to actually have like a full a league where you only have certain people.
At least for now.
At least for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all talking about now. It could all change if in 5 years it blows up even bigger than it already has. Then yeah, there may be a time when you need like a governing body almost.
Sure. For the same reason that the NFL has a budget cap now, I don't think we need that just yet. Again, if we are truly in the same numbers and like viewership and players as the NFL recruits and has the same college, or at least like somewhere to pull the talent pool, then sure, it makes sense. This leads to that. But for right now, I hope it doesn't get implemented prematurely.
Yeah, because I think that's also a really good point as well with this, the salary cap is right now you can kind of make your own all-star team. And there's not really anything people can be like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't pay all your people $5 million a piece and just get all the best talent in the world. No one's really stopping that right now. There's no... Because, like, every other sport really has that.
Sure.
But also, no one's really abused it either, in my opinion. No one's been out there and been like, we will give you an exorbitant amount of money to come to our team.
I think that's interesting coming from you, because there was a team in Dota called Secret that was supposedly this all-star team, and probably not necessarily the 5 best players, but definitely an all-star cast. The reason I don't think they should necessarily put a cap or a franchise just yet is because Secret didn't win the world. They didn't win the world finals. There was 2 other teams. I don't even think they made the grand finals, right?
Nope, they didn't make grand finals.
Pretty much what I'm getting at is you're not held to the same requirements, right? You can adapt, and just because they're better than you now doesn't mean that you, in that moment, in that set or in that match, that you can't beat the best in the world. And so for now, I just don't think it's necessary.
You bring up that point of natural talent as well. We have natural talent in esports, but it's not to the same extent that it is in traditional sports. Example, me, 6'3", I'm not going to be playing center in the NBA anytime soon. But maybe I could be a jungle. But if I don't like jungle, maybe I can transition to mid. There could be other games you could play and other roles you can play. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Love to see you guys every week.
Tune in next Wednesday. We're really excited that you guys are starting to become more frequent. We've gotten a little bit more messages and whatnot. And so we really appreciate the feedback, and it's we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye guys. Because it could be why can't I say considered? Because it be oh my god.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, and got my voice cracked. Oh yeah, definitely. You'll cut that definitely out. That's the second time.
That's the 5th time, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
you say yeah definitely after anything I said.
Fuck. Fuck. Okay.